are here at the Azimuth display. We're gonna do our now standard walkthrough video. We're gonna go into deep details. Is a boat which is extremely intense from every standpoint, so the video might be a little long. You can watch it in pills, and but I hope you enjoy it, and as usual will be very comprehensive. We have a very technical touch to it, so you can already see, and we will look at it in details later, the beach club. But now, you know, follow me, join me on board, and we'll tour and walk through this incredible Azimuth Grande 36 meters. So here we landed in this fantastic cockpit. Of course, you have your alfresco dining experience here, and there is very comfortable room for 10 guests sitting around the table. But also you can start immediately feeling the design touches. So if you look at the shape of the bar, for instance, you will see these consistently going through the entire look and feel of the boat, which is, you know, this is an interior design by Achille Salvagni, joined to an exterior design by Alberto Mancini. So two incredibly talented artists, I should say, before architect and designer, which put together their forces to create a very unique product. And you can see every shape, every geometry is unique, is artistic, has a touch of creativity. So you see this is your bar, which of course is fully equipped. You don't need to come here, don't worry, stay there. You have an ice maker here, a refrigerator here, so it's perfectly comfortable for the crew to serve drinks on board. Your sink disappears when you don't need it through this panel, which keep the aesthetical integrity of this beautiful piece of art. But this is a full bar, and what I want you to appreciate really are the details. So this floating shelf, look at the way it is integrated into the countertop of the bar. And if you turn around, on that side, you can see that this love seat, this sofa, which fulfill this beautiful corner, is just not a love seat. They follow the same geometry, the same shape that Achille Salvagni brought to the exterior and interior furniture of the boat. So they're comfortable. It's a perfect place to lounge. You know, imagine you're cruising. This is not only pretty, but I could spend really hours here watching my wake, you know, going away from land and to beautiful destination. But it's also a beautiful piece, you know, of decoration for this corner. We will, as I said, look also at practical things. So if you come this way, there is a little bit of a storage unit. We'll go through all the storage. Sorry for the mess. We are again at the boat show premiering a new model, so you will see some storages with some, you know, still new boats featured, but you see you have a room for some shoes, remote controls, and shelves where once the boat is fully commissioned to the owner will be used for convenience when you step on board. Now let's go inside. As you will notice, all doors on the boat are automatic, so most of them we already opened for you, so you don't have to go through the process. But yeah, come on board, and this gives you really the feeling of Achille Salvagni design. So as per his standard, renowned to mix materials in a way which is you know, very unique. So you see you have a nice almost raw oak wood floor, which is paired with a 100% teak furniture that go throughout the design of the boat. And then you have this beautiful lacquer white in contrast. And again, you see the details of these beautiful lamps. Every light feature that you see on board is designed by Achille Salvagni for Azimuth for the 36 meters. So these are all custom one-off pieces that you cannot buy off the shelf anywhere else, even from high-name designer as most of the competition does. No, these are all pieces created by a designer for this product, for this boat. Of course, it jumps to the eye. It is a beautiful artistic interpretation of light. This again is a design by Achille Salvagni, which this little piece combine design, art, creativity, and technology, because wherever you see these little symbols right here, if you want to zoom, these now are renowned to everybody. They became almost a standard, but this is as an integrated phone charger, and they are distributed throughout the boat. So again, design, technology, a touch of art, but also, you know, practicality. So you put your phone here and it automatically charges. While I'm sitting, sofa, Achille is a fan of you know, these circular forms which fulfill the space in a way which is unique, but also they don't take anything away from comfort. My back is nice and supported. I can really spend a lot of time here chit-chatting with friends, watching a movie, and so the sofa again is a piece of art, is artistic, is design-oriented, but is also comfortable. And in this living area, again, combination of material in a very unique way. You have this beautiful silk feeling carpet, which have a trim of brass, you know, and then kind of join the oak wood floor. And other details, if you stay there and you just follow me and turn around, these are the creativity details that Achille does in his design. So you see, this almost looks like a puzzle, if you wish, two pieces which join each other, and it gives a, you know, a sense of harmony and again creativity. That is a detail which could have been straight without these inlays, and instead, you know, it gives that unique feeling and also gives some, you know, how can I say, complication of construction. So this is luxury, the details of having two pieces of wood interacting between each other is not easy from a production standpoint as well. I think the side glasses talk for themselves. So you can see there's this immense four side glasses to the ocean. Now we are at the boat show, so on the side you can only see two other beautiful azimuths. But imagine now you are in the Bahamas or in Indonesia and in a beautiful island at the anchor. Now look at the amount of nature, the amount of beauty that you will have coming into this salon from these incredible windows. And while we are on that side, we also look at from practical aspect of the boat. So we'll look at some storage and technical space. So this storage right here mirror another one on the other side. I'll show you only one. So you have convenient shelves here to store things, but then you also have you know, practical access to component. This is the subwoofer for the Salon audio-video system, which we'll look in detail later. And this is an extremely convenient access to your air conditioning system. So now all the fan coil you'll see that are accessible. We'll go through many of them. And filter, very easy to remove. You just lift these two legs, take it out, clean it, put it back in, and also for service purposes, very easily accessible as well. So we have practicality, but also, you know, in terms of storage, but also easy access to systems which require maintenance and service on a basis. I can open this. This is an electrical panel, which is the main distribution and power supply for all the lights of the salon and upper deck. So you have storage in that cabinet there. We will not waste time, open it. And you follow me, we have a storage in this cabinet here, same on that side. So you have storage in the salon, of course. Again, this will be your indoor dining experience, of course. Same room for the 10 people. And here also look at the difference in materials. So and again, a carpet, he chooses a carpet for a salon, which is a more convivial area to relax and is more cozy. But then on the practical side, when you dine, you don't want carpet under a dining table. Will last not that long clean, especially with big family, with kids and so on and so forth. So again, he mixes you know, the silk feeling carpet, raw, almost raw, you know, oak wood floor, and now a beautiful marble stone which matches the table. So this really become the dining island of this main deck. To mention is that we offer the 36 meter in two configurations. So the one you see is with the indoor dining, and which is the configuration that the owner of this unit have chosen. But we also choose it a complete lounge salon. So picture that instead of this table, here you have 4 club chairs and a beautiful coffee table in between. So this will be more your living, watching movie area, and this becomes more a lounging, talking area with those clubs. And you can see both layout on our website, azimutyachts.com. But so just for the purpose of the video, we offer it in 2 different versions of this layout. If you choose the lounge area for this area right here, then your indoor dining will be in the upper deck, and we'll see later on where and how. Another beautiful aspect, please really take a look at this ceiling, because it's another piece of art created by Achille Salvagni with his ribs, if you wish, that are increasing towards the center, and this is a one-piece mold which we have created obviously for this piece of ceiling alone, and designed by Achille as a feature which is extremely unique, and you see it talks with all the pieces on board. Also all the accessories, so this is really a vase which is designed by Achille Salvagni as part of his collection for the 36 meters. So really to the little details, this box is designed by Achille Salvagni for the 36 meters. So really all the microscopic details go together, blend together to create an incredible style. Coming this way, we're going to look at a little bit of a technical aspect with the touch of technology. So these doors open and disappear. And this is something that we have done which is pretty unique and interesting. So you see these QR codes. So guests that come on board with their phone, they scan this QR code, and automatically on their phone they download a remote control for the audio video system of the boat. So there is one for the master cabin, of course, which is separated, so nobody can control that apart from the owner, whomever resides in the master cabin. And then there is another QR code for the rest of the boat. So you can control everything with your phone after you click on the QR code, but also there you will see there is iPad going throughout the entire boat. There is iPads in every area, and they control every equipment. What I'll show you right now, for instance, because I'm sure you wonder, where is the TV in the salon? Because I talk about watching TV. Well, the TV comes out from the ceiling, as you can see, and so when you don't watch TV, there is no pollution from an ugly appliance, and it disappears completely flush into the ceiling. But when you want to watch TV instead, with the press of a button on this iPad, the TV comes down from the ceiling, and then when you're done with your movie, you retract it, and look how much better and more beautiful the entire area is. All these features that you see, then of course from these you can control all the audio video of the boat. This is really mimic a remote control, so you can not only take the TV up and down, but you control all the features of the TV and all the other music and so on and so forth. All the audio video system of the entire boat is controlled by the provided iPads, and we'll see that we have racks, and this tells you the quality level of execution of Azimuth yachts. So you have these beautiful racks throughout the boat in the various areas, very nice and neat. They come out on rails if you need to service, replace, upgrade, update components, and otherwise they are hidden and they disappear. Every area is fully ventilated, of course, and then you just close and disappear. Well, if you stay there, we'll go to the master. While I'm going at it, all the curtains of the salon, of course, are automatic electric, operated both by remote control, and then there is a switch in that cabinet right there, which allow you to operate the four curtains, which are electrical. Important here is that on both sides, on that side where we were there, you go to the galley side, so it's a more technical side. On this side, you go to the guest and master. Both sides have this pocket sliding door, so it's very easy to isolate the two areas. So if the owners and there is entertainment going on here, you close these two doors and you completely separate, and then when you open instead, the door are completely flush and disappears. But then when you open them, they create a full finished look and feel where really the areas are separated and disappear from each other. Going this way, look at the width of my walking and the spaces, the volume, completely no step. So after we step on board from the gangway, you have noticed there is absolutely no steps including entering the salon. There is no frame of the door, anything. You don't cross anything, and it's completely no step all the way to the end of the master cabin. We haven't crossed a step. Before getting to the master cabin, a little look to storage again. So this is very convenient. Storage right here. Behind that panel, there is the central vacuum system. When is ordered and installed is behind that panel. Everything else is convenient storage to supply either the master for sheet and towel or the galley, depending on the needs of the customers and crew on board. So walking this way, we're walking towards the owner cabin, but before that, this is the as beautiful as needed day head, so you can see and appreciate the incredible marble work done in this day head. And you see, this is convenient storage located here, and you know, sink, and when you have guests on board and a party, you know, this is where everybody will go to the head without the need to go in anybody else's cabin. And on this side instead, we have a technical space, which again, you know, I'm a big fan of. So this is a technical space which is up here because has all the navigation part of the navigation components. So some of the navigation equipments and brains and CPUs are under the helm. We'll see where. But then there is, for instance, the MTU electronics batteries. This big box here with this latch right here. This box is full of batteries which are dedicated only to the electronic management system of the engines. And then you have your navigation component. You see we have components from Furuno, components from Simrad, and you know, you have your fire detection system brain over there. So you have the boning, that is the back of the screen that we'll go through later on. So this is a nice and neat technical space which is easily accessible to the crew, and you can appreciate the execution and the quality of the layout of the system. Of course, air is extracted from this space, and actually this is interesting. So as you can see, you know, all the handles on board, they have no catch, so that you know, more mechanical, if you feel that clack clack that you feel on a smaller product is gone. So the closing is very smooth and quiet, and it works magnetically. So now let's walk into the master, or the owner's suite rather, and look at this incredible beauty. The amount of space, volume, height. Again, I'm 6 foot tall. I have another over a foot over my head. So this really gives you the feeling to be in a villa. This is you lose all those constraints that are forced on smaller products. And this is where Achille Salvagni really expressed himself at his best, because this is the owner's suite, so is the most important suite of the boat. And you can tell the attention of details. So to give you some aspect of design, he chose this what he called this floating bed. So floating bed means that the bed is in the middle of the cabin, is the centerpiece, and is floating into the cabin from any standpoint. So it's floating as far as geometry, but as you can see, he gives in this aspect with light underneath. So it really feels like the bed is floating in a very relaxing and chill environment. Of course, you have your vanity here, so she will take care of her needs with a mirror here, but also, again, you are now at the anchor in a beautiful place, and look at how much natural beauty can enter this room for these windows. You can be bigger than that in terms of window sizing. And again, every piece here designed by Achille, so lamps, every piece you see is designed by the designer for this project. Storage, while you're there, stay there so I can show you storage coming from here. Big, nice cabinet, hanging bar, shelf, 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 and as usual, very easy access to technical space. That is the audio-video subwoofer, and look at that fan coil. Look how easy it is to access and service that fan coil, which of course is the owner's suite, so we want to make sure that the filter of that fan coil is always extra clean. So, you know, extremely easy to access technical space, and ample storage here. Then, as you probably have understood, you have all of these is basically home size cabinetry, hanging locker, beautiful shelf, beautiful drawers for the precious, you know, clothing, and they go all the way down to the bottom, and this is ×3. So this is the first one. In between, again, Achille Salvagni creativity, you see, this could have been a piece of beautiful veneer, and would have probably been the same, and much, much easier and cheaper for us to build. And instead, Achille Salvagni gives this beautiful, curved, and electric blue. This is electric blue. I hope it comes out in video as much, and as well we see it in reality, because it's really an elegant touch. It's an unexpected touch of design. Here you have the hanging locker for longer gown, so that would be probably her. And as you can see, you have shelves and hanging bar on this side. And last, you have the replica of the other one with hanging locker and, of course, drawers and shelves here. If you stay there, don't move, because probably that's a good position to show this locker here, which, again, beautiful and convenient space. Audio-video rack. This is dedicated only to the master cabin. We'll see through the boat. When you get to this kind of size, the way power is distributed through the boat is through sub-panel. So power comes into the boat either from the generator on board or from shore power. They go into a main panel. The main panel then distributes power to sub-panel. So in every area we go, you will see that there is, you see this one says main deck owner cabin panel. So all the electrical distribution for every area is protected by sub-panel. And I always like to actually show behind what a sub-panel looks like, because that really gives you an appreciation of the quality of execution of the systems and also behind the scene. I love to show the beauty of the designer, but this to me is equally beautiful design as well. An electrical system done like this, it is an equally valuable piece of art. So I really like to see it. Everything, of course, is labeled. We provide both paper and digital electrical drawings, mapping of what is where on board, and with all those white labeling that you see, you bring that number, you put it into a drawings, and then you understand exactly that wire, what is feeding, what is protecting what system. So again, electrical sub-panel, we'll see a couple of them. Of course, I will not waste your time going through all of the panel on board. While here, this is the manual control of the air conditioning. You might not see it from there. Of course, you can control the air conditioning from your iPad. The owner doesn't have to get up and go into there. But in case of malfunction, freezing, low battery, you forgot to charge your iPad, that's where you control your air conditioning, as well as the electric curtains and blackout. So blackout, you see this rail right here. This is your blackout shades coming down, and then there is your curtains here in front of it. They both work with remote controls as well as manual switches. Turning around, we go into the bathroom. The bathroom requires sometimes, because what I would like you to appreciate, first of all, is the marble work. Look at the beauty of this incredible work. As you can imagine, the floor comes obviously from a single slab, because you see how our artists, because really these are artisan and artists. This boat is built in Viareggio. Viareggio is very close to Carrara, and Carrara is not only home of the Carrara marble, which is the most common marble, if you wish, the white and gray typical Carrara marble, which gave the name of recognition of marble from Italy, but Carrara has an infinite variety of marbles, and here is a great example. And you see the way the veins have been matched throughout. So you have, look at the floor, but look at this block. This entire sink piece of furniture is completely made in marble from one block, because you see the veins comes from here and end all the way here. So this was carved from the same block of marble, and you can appreciate really the quality of execution Because look at this face of this drawer, this is all marble, and then it's inlaid, and then there is a stainless steel trim on the bottom here. So really, this is not cabinet making, these are really artists. And of course, that carries all the way to the shower, which in this case is immense. So you will see, I'll go through the other showers to make sure that it's clear, the comfort, the level of space that each guest has on board. This is a shower, probably, you know, a family of 4 can shower in here. There's an incredible bench here. But also here, appreciate the quality of execution of the marble. So this is extremely complex to build the drain system and matching the vein and going through the system, again, is extremely complex. It's very expensive because if you make a mistake anywhere here, you drop this, it falls on the floor and it breaks. It can happen during construction, right? So then you have to redo everything else because you will never find a piece which matches completely and perfectly. So again, utmost attention and care also for the crews to manage this, they know. But again, the marble work is fantastic. While we are here, I also want to mention that this is a custom request head, or bathroom I should say, by the owner of this unit, because the standard 36 meter, the way we design, the boat has a shower right here. This will be the place for his and her big shower. And then on the sides, instead of having a shower there, and this is obviously your toilet room on this side, you know, picture that you will have a toilet room on this side, his and her sink per side, and then the shower in the middle. How you access that? This door stays exactly where, watch out, this door stays exactly where it is, and then on this side you see this panel has been closed in this instance because this is behind the shower I just showed you, but in our standard layout this is another sliding door. So now you probably understand. Door, his and hers access, shower in the middle, accessible from both sides obviously. So you have toilet, sink, his and hers, shower in the middle. That is the standard layout. That is a layout, for instance, that in the Americas would work better than this, but this was what this customer wanted and we built it his way. Of course, I don't have to mention that this, behind this mirror and this beautiful framing, you have your TV, as typical now by Achille Salvagni design, and every piece of storage is practical, but also, you know, with his design touch. So look at this, practical again, under the TV storage system, but look at the beauty once it's closed. Again, it's a unique piece of art, never an easy, predictable geometry. Look at the details in brass, the lacquered, the 100% gloss teak. Look at the amount of talking and story that this little piece of furniture can create. Port side, you have this relax area where you can enjoy reading, you know, your newspaper, which now we read on iPads. But this is a beautiful place where you can be away from everybody else on board, enjoy beauty behind you, enjoy beauty in front of you, and have some fun time and relax and chill in this very incredible ambient of the owner's seat. Stepping to a practical point, we will see that throughout the entire boat, but storage, which is never enough, of course, under the bed you have this spring assisted panel, and look at the amount of storage you have here. And so this for suitcases or provisions, you know, extra clothing, you name it. There's a very big volume of extra storage here. You might wonder, you will see those kind of ladders everywhere throughout the boat. They're mandatory by class, and they are required in the areas where, to get out in case of an emergency, you might have to climb out of a hatch. So that's where you see those ladders, or down from a hatch. You see, for instance, this geometry right here is not that we made a mistake and there is a cut on the floor. You can see this hatch is as pretty as much a mandatory by class hatch can be, but that clearly is a place where from below, from the deck below, is an emergency escape. That's when you see those geometries on the floor, is because it's mandatory by class to create emergency escape path. So let's go down to the crew quarters, passing by the galley. So here, maybe you want to come here where you're comfortable and you can turn around, so I can go back there and we can show some practical aspect of this galley because they're very important. So first of all, of course, you close your door with your magnetic handle, and this is really a laundry dream because you have 4 machines which on a boat this size, they're constantly running non-stop, day and night most of the time. So of course you have 2 washers, 2 dryers, double set, extremely convenient, very well technically located. On this side you have another main panel. So I don't know if you're able to sneak in here. Let's see. So this is you know, the main deck area panel. So you see, and again we give you a vision of the quality of execution, cleanness of the system. So this is another big distribution panel for the main deck, where also you can control the extractors through these switches of all the area. We'll go through the air flow on this boat in details. The way it works when you get to this size is the air on board is not only let in by nature, but there is also forced air ventilation into the boat, where the air from the outside get put in through a very complex filtration system to make sure that the quality of the air inside the boat is at the best it can be. So those are called UTA, and there is 2 on board. They bring a fresh air, filter fresh air into the boat, and there is a general extraction system in the boat which guarantee the flow. So you have air coming in, filter, and exhausted air, if you wish, being forced out, and those are the control of your extractor. While we are here, this is your freezer. So all of this is only freezer, dedicated fully to freezer feature. And I will not open, you can understand that every line you see is a drawer or storage. Appliances, oversized, so 2 ovens, microwave convention, and 90 centimeter convention cooktop and oven, so fully equipped. You see a lot of countertop space. So a chef here, which typically is a very hard job on a boat like this, to be the chef, because they basically never stop. They barely sleep, and then this is a constant production line, almost 24/7. So it's very important to give them comfort, space, practical space to work on, practical surfaces, and then of course you have storage everywhere. Every volume you see here, this entire area is all storage. That is all storage. That is all storage. This is a dishwasher, of course, 12 sets dishwasher. And then if you come here and I go there, this is your refrigeration system. Very practical, actually, lock for navigation. You don't want any refrigerator to open, so with this beautiful piece of clear, the refrigerator is locked, and then you remove it, you put it in the refrigerator, and you have your double refrigeration system here, residential size, so immense to fulfill the boat. And in addition, we'll go through it. We will see several other refrigerators. We have seen one in the cockpit next to the ice maker at the bar. But yeah, this is the main refrigerator and freezer of the galley. While we are here, this is where all your china is. So very conveniently located for the crew to, from here, go set up tables either outside or inside. So you have all your china and cups, espresso cups, and so on and so forth. Everything is here properly set in their own dedicated position, and then you close it and off you go. And while you're here, on this side right here, you have one per side. Obviously the door opens the wrong way for you, but this is where all your glasses are, and there is one on the port side where we are. There is a symmetrical one on the other side, so all your glasses are stored here. Let's go down to the crew quarters, because this is, again, actually stay there, because as I mentioned before, you close this door, okay, so now you're separating completely the salon dining. If you close the other door on the salon, you create that room that we saw. This is very important because you have access. Now the crew, through this door, can go outside without passing, obviously, and bothering the owner entertaining his friends and family. So the crew has full access to the outside and to any other deck or area of the boat, and from this door when this other door is closed. So let's go down to the crew quarters, which are, again, very important. You need the crew to be comfortable and happy on a boat like this in order to provide the best service they can. It's a very hard work. As I said, it never stops. Sometimes you spend time at the anchor in beautiful places, and all of a sudden, 4 in the morning, the weather change and the crew need to get up and move the boat. So there are many instances where crew really is a hard work, and we focus on make sure that they can be as comfortable as possible given the size of the boat. So that's why we provided them with this what we call crew mess. If you look at it, we came down from the galley, but the galley, closing the 2 doors, the galley becomes integral part of the technical space. So the crew can really have all the galley, then through the stairs come down here, and they have a big section of the boat which is technical, dedicated to them to either work and relax and take a break when they need. So beautiful crew mess, full entertaining system. They don't have an actual full galley, but they have refrigeration under this sink. So they have a sink, a refrigerator, and a microwave. So for snacks, they don't have to go up to the galley. They can have, you know, their comfort here. And they have a beautiful sofa here. TV with sound bar and system. So again, they want to watch a movie. Is a comfortable place where you can take a break with your buddies and you know, watch a movie or chit chat and relax. Beautiful, convenient, comfortable table. I'll show you just this one, but this entire sofa is storage. So the entire volume is storage, like this. For instance, you remove a panel, so it's very convenient to place, you know, food or provisions or snacks that they want to keep down here without the need to going up to the galley. They can, and then they put back the cushions, and off they go. You have a little storage here, convenient, and let's go through the cabin first, and then we do maybe some technical spaces because there are some interesting areas here. Captain cabin here. Very extra wide bed, very comfortable. I mean, I can show you the ergonomics, and so very, very comfortable bed for a captain. Or we can study solution to enlarge it a little. If you have the couple, we can make it bigger and can host a couple, his and hers. Of course, you understand from all the latches the amount of storage that you have in the captain cabin, and suite head. So if you come this way, I'll do it on this one, and all the others are sized the same. But again, ensuite head for the captain, very comfortable, convenient. Enclosed shower, so geometry of the shower is very generous, and you know, you can really take a nice shower without being constrained while working on board. Storage in the bathroom as well, and so we'll go that way now. And sorry. And here you have what typically would be the engineer cabin. Comfortable bed as well again, and suite bathroom. So you look at it. And here will be the rest of the crew. So typically this will be either the 2 stewardesses or the 2 stewardesses on this side, and the deckhand and the bosun on the other side. They both have their own bathroom. So we just have seen a total of 6 crew members, 2 single cabin. Actually, the captain can be a double, and then 2 double cabins. So if you will have a couple with the captain, up to 7 crew down here, or 6 if the captain is alone. While we are at it, actually, while you're there, what I want to do. I want to look at some bilge space. So if you go back a little bit, no, go that way. You're good, go that way. Let me see if I, no, this is actually, these are black and gray water tank under this bilge. But let me see, I want to see if, yeah. This is actually a bilge which I would like you to take a look at. I don't know how we do that. Maybe I go down there and describe the systems and you just put the camera down. But this is a bilge which have a lot of technical components, interesting. So what you're looking at down here, this is a 70 kW bow thruster. Is a 400 volt, 3-phase power, so that's why the steam is so content. Then the shaft, the thruster is in this tunnel right here, and this is the shaft that you can't see it, but trust me, behind this motor there is the shaft which moves the propellers. This motor is so powerful, which have its own ventilation system. So this is a filter which filter the air which gets into the motor of the bow thruster. 70 kW bow thruster. So this is equal to something like 12 apartments in an Italian city absorb the same power of this bow thruster. So we'll see the distribution, the power distribution system later on in the engine room with the generators and how power is managed on the boat. It's a very sophisticated system, but this again gives you an idea of what also is under the rug, if you wish. Well, this is air conditioning drainage, sump pump. You have a manifold for distribution of water. You have a sinus plates for the discharge of sinks down here. But I really wanted to show you this incredible piece of equipment which can move. This boat, once loaded, is 180 tons of weight. And if you add the sail surface that these big volume boats we are making creates, because all the volume in the bow, the whole master cabin which is so big, the windows which are so big, all of that translate into resistance to wind in a maneuvering condition. So you picture you have wind coming from the side. That's why you need a 70 kW 3-phase 400 volt bow thruster to counter that wind and execute your maneuvering properly. Now let me get out of here. And what I want to show you while we're down here, you can go back and then turn left now or right, whatever is more convenient for you, because we're going to take a look at this bilge right here. This is another bilge which I think is worth showing. So let me just put this panel away here, because there is a lot of system worth talking about down here, which are actually crucial for the comfort of life on board. And so down here, again, these are technical spaces which typically are obviously managed by crew and engineers, but here you have 200 liters each hot water system. So this tank, this big tank right here, you have another one symmetric on the other side, and these are the hot water system, which they do have on both of these sides. You have electrical valves which keep the hot water always circulating through the entire system of the boat. The boat is too big, so if there is a sink which is far away from here, you would open the sink and get a little bit of cold water before it gets hot. You don't have that. You have a pump which recirculates hot water constantly, so as soon as you open any sink on board, you immediately get hot water out. These are your gray and black water pump. Interesting fact is that you can swap them, so God forbid you lose your black water pump and goes bad and you need to pump black water. There is a system of valves down here that allow you to use either or for the purpose. So they are interchangeable. And then you have pressure compensating tank here for all your hot water system on board. Of course, you have one per side. Distribution manifolds, everything is labeled and properly executed. And then you have your hot water system control panel right here on the bulkhead. So really this is your hot water, fresh, of course, hot water room, if you wish, and control panel, as well as your black and gray water pump system location. Again, these are pumps which sooner or later do require to be replaced, no matter who built the boat. Pumps are replaceable items. That's why it's important to locate them in very convenient place to work on them. So imagine you have to replace this pump now. You can't be more comfortable than this to replace a pump. So that's why I wanted to show you this area, which I particularly like. Now, I will not put back the panel, so are you okay walking on this? Be careful, it's dangerous. And let's go back. So we go back up here, and we go now towards the starboard side of the boat, and down to the guest cabins. So coming this way, again, you see the same concept throughout. So all oak, but then the mixing of materials. So you have an inlay of a darker lacquered and with a silestone. On this model, Achille decided to introduce a new components in the stairs, and you have a silestone stairs going all the way up to the helm to all the way down to the lower decks. That's where we're going right now. And before getting there, I want to stop here, other technical space. So this is, again, another audio video. This is the back of the rack that we saw before in the salon. And here is where audio video and network cabling and wiring and component is located. There is a fan coil which bring air up to the upper deck. Again, super easy. There's really no excuse to clean and keep properly maintain the air conditioning on any Azimuth Yacht product actually. But you see how easy accessible they are for maintenance and cleaning. And this is actually the distribution panel to all the audio video racks. So every audio video rack on board get power from here. So you know that if you have a problem, the first thing you're going to check if it's one of those breaker popped is because your area is not working. So this is called sub panels, and then of course you can appreciate the execution and quality. And the wires are purposely left out. One would wonder or could wonder why all these wires don't have plastic covers so you don't see them. You want to see them, because if you need to work on them, you want them as easy accessible as possible. So that's why you have those trays which are laid, and then wires are tie wrap onto those trays but left visible for easy tracking in case you need to run new wires, in case you need to use wires which are there as predisposition, or in case you need to understand which conductor might have a problem. So that's why they're all visible. Now we land down in the lobby, and really you should appreciate, first of all, the landing. Like if you want to stop, you land into beauty. So this could have been, an empty corner, and instead Achille want to furnish it with, again, a custom design piece from him, which not only offer, a little extra convenient storage for this area, but also beauty of his design lamps, design objects. So you come down the stairs into the lobby, and you, as I said, you immediately step into beauty. Then you come down here and you step into space, and practicality. So, but look at the distance from me to you. I mean, this is an incredible landing lobby. You have 4 cabins down here. We have the VIP aft, which is a little bit wider part of the boat. That's why the 2 VIPs are there. They're perfectly symmetrical in-suite bathroom. So we'll take a look at the port side one, and we'll save your time on the starboard side, which is absolutely identical. In the lobby, though, we have this would be your typical towels and linen closet, extra towels, extra linen, bottle of waters, and audio video rack for the lower deck. As we said before, each area has its own audio video rack. And this right here, in this particular boat, is a storage, and of course a safety fire extinguisher. But this can also be a refrigerator. So that's why I said you might have supplies of water there for these refrigerators. So at night, the guests don't have to go up to the galley, or if they run out of the water that the crew put on their nightstands, they typically would have an extra refrigerator here for their night needs. Let's go here, and then we'll turn around 180 degrees, because on that side we have the 2 guests cabin, which are again identically symmetrical. So we take a look at one, and the other goes by default. So VIP, new concept which gives a feeling of so much space. because we have been able to create so much beauty. It follows a little bit the trend of the kitchens. Now, when I grew up, the kitchen were closed room with the door, were technical space. I'm talking about residential now, in homes. And then little by little, architecture evolved, and the kitchens became more beautiful and pretty and design oriented. And now, any modern home, the kitchen is the center of the house, is exposed. Kitchen are open space layout, right? So we have seen the same happening with heads, with bathrooms. So we have done such an incredible job improving the aesthetical quality of the heads in the bathroom that now become, as you can see, part of the furniture of an ambient, which before would have been a wall and a door to get into the bathroom. Now the bathroom is exposed. Two purposes. First, beauty. So again, you walk into beauty. Look at this. Look at the execution of this block of marble again, like we saw in the master. Look how pretty or beautiful. But also your feeling of space. If this would be a wall, actually I can show you, because if you want, you can close. Like this gives you exactly the perception of the space, how better is used when the door are open. Your perception of space is so much greater. When you close the door, this will be a bulkhead, and you know, the perception of space is smaller. So through these you know, inventive architecture, you created more space in a cabin. And of course, you still have a separation where you need it. So on this side, you'll take a look at it when you come in, it's just the toilet room, which is fine. And on this side, you have a completely separated shower, which I'll show you, as usual, the sizing and comfort on board. So you see I'm perfectly comfortable in this shower. I have a rain shower. My phone shower is right here. And, you know, and beauty is also natural light. Again, here we are in a situation where you probably would like to close your blind because you're in a marina next to another boat, but if you are instead in a place where there's nobody else, is fantastic to just be able to, you know, have this incredible window and showering and looking outside at the beautiful landscape of an island. And then, so this is the, again, head of the VIP. Bed, we look at it in the master. Just I told you that all beds on board provide the same kind of features. So this one as well, immense amount of storage. Those are 4 full-size pillows on top of each other. So that gives you those black bags right there. So that gives you a very concrete idea of the volume, you see. So this is 4 of them. And of course you have your safety ladder, as we discussed before, to get out from the emergency escape. And in here, typically those maybe will be placed elsewhere once the boat is commissioned. You have some storage under this cushion. So this is maybe more for the crew to store cleaning product, toilet paper supplies, things that are needed in each cabin. And instead of having them elsewhere and bring them down, this is a very convenient space where the crew can stock you know, set of towels, sheets, as I said, supplies for the bathroom. Here in the cabin, each cabin has its own supply and inventory. Come in, because if you go kind of here, we tested this before and we understood that was a little challenging to find a good spot for you, but we want to show the amount of storage, of course, and which is, this is your hanging locker here, another hanging locker here with drawers here, and here is an interesting element of this area, because whenever you see a push button like this, it means that it's access to a technical area. So this right here is this big box, white stainless steel, full of so many technical bolts, gasket, tempered glass. What is it? That is the inspection and access panel to the stabilizer fins motors. Those are systems that don't require maintenance on a constant basis. They don't require replacement or interacting with them unless there is an emergency. And why they are constructed like that? Because those are stabilizer, they have shafts which protrude out of the hull of the boat, and to the shaft they're bolt on those big, nice stabilizer fins, which work to stabilize the boat and remove your rolling that we all dislike so much. Those are penetration, we call them penetration to the hull. So that's why you want to be able to have your crew inspect and make sure, this is why this is glass. You want to make sure that you go there with your flashlight and you inspect what is down there, and God forbid, because you hit something or accident happened, God forbid that the shaft penetration to the hull create a water leakage into the boat, that is a completely watertight box. So in other words, you can have a problem on that shaft that cause water to come into the boat. The only water coming into the boat will fulfill that box and go nowhere else. So that's why it's very important to inspect it. It's very important that it's built watertight, and but is also a nice safety feature, because if something happened to a protruding appendix from your hull, you have full access to control it. Here is other storage. This gives you an idea. Once you remove that panel, you can also remove this through this catch right here. You lift it up and it comes out. The only thing to do is to remove this door. This is all technical operation, and that the guest will not do, is a crew job. But these hinges are very easy to remove. You just flip these 3 levers on each of the hinges, the door come out, this panel come out, that panel come out, and now you have full access to a very important system of the boat, which is the stabilizer fin, motor, and penetration through the hull. And this gives you room to, to store extra component, and once again, access to your fun coil. So again, look how easy the operation of cleaning this filter can be. It really cannot be easier than this. Put it back in place, use these lips, nice and tight, and also you can appreciate how clean and properly, the quality of execution also of the backstage at Azimuth is into place. I think that now we can go to the portside guest. This is the portside VIP. I think we covered it all. I mean, details, this was also in the master, you probably notice it. And these are, again, designed by Achille Salvagni. This is onyx, one piece of onyx, real onyx, and worked and created as the nightstand lights. Well, nightstand have drawers, I will not waste your time. This is probably a beautiful piece. The TV clearly is behind this mirror, which also contributed to furnish the room. And, you have Achille Salvagni pieces design, and this beautiful little love seat, which, I don't see people spending time sitting there, but, gives us somewhere where you come to the cabin after a nice party, nice evening, and you want to throw your clothes and go to bed. This is where you probably will leave your clothing before they are put back in the closet or in the washing and laundry area. Now, if you follow me, as we said, we have 2 exactly symmetrical guest cabin here, 2 beds with additional, if order, Pullman bed. So you can sleep 3 people per cabin here. Here, actually, I'll just show you, because it's the details, this is again the sub-electrical panel for the lower deck, as discussed before. And interesting here, I will not show you just another pallet, but I want to show you, this is what the guests see. So there is no possibility for someone to touch something that shouldn't be touched. And in order to access it, you need a key that then the captain, the crew can decide to keep elsewhere. And then behind that, you have your control, all your breakers, all your dimmers, and of your lights. So this is, and then behind here, you need just a screwdriver. You open each module, and behind there you have the wiring that I showed you before. But this, you see, in these areas, which, for instance, on a charter boat configuration, this is area where there will be probably different people every week for multiple weeks of the year. So that's why you want it nice and clean. Nobody can mess or touch anything they shouldn't, and the crew then can come down and do what they need to do. So let's get here now to this portside guest, which we said is symmetrical, identical on the starboard side. This is your storage in terms of hanging locker, technical space, again, access to the fan coil. This is actually a very nice view where you can see, you know, execution and practicality. This is your air temperature sensor right here, which is located exactly at the intake. So you want the thermometer to read the temperature from there. So when you set, your temperature is perfectly set in place. And we put this one back right here. And extra storage here. We have 4 drawers under this bed, you know. So very ample, generous, and they use the entire depth of the bed. 1, 2, 3, 4 drawers like this, in addition to your hanging locker right there. Let me put this back before the girls or the boat show will kick me. And again, 2 beds, and if you come on that side, go in that corner, you can see also the Pullman. So this again, family of guests which have small children and they want to all be in the same room. You know, the mom and dad can sleep here, and if wanted, we can make this instead as a full bed. We can make fillers in case you know, people want to transform this entire area in a bed. We provide fillers, and this is a bunk bed, which is actually of general side, maybe more indicated for children, but an adult will fit in there. Give you an idea of the sizing while you're there. These are very comfortable single beds. So look, you know, 6 feet, under than 75 pounds, men, and I am absolutely comfortable. I can spend the night here in full comfort. So it's not a bunk bed or any sacrifice of space. Now, you know what? Try to follow me because I want to go all the way up to the upper deck from here, and I think will help give the viewer the feeling of the height in this boat, because they're really impressive. I think you'll see why. So we go up from the stairs, very generous, roomy, handrail, convenient to grab, and then I turn here on my left and I keep going up, and look at the height of these stairs. That gives you really the feeling this isn't going up the next floor in a residential villa. I mean, I don't feel at all we're on a boat. This dimension and spaces, this is residential spaces and height. So handrail, and look the size in terms of width and comfort of these stairs. The landing of the steps is perfect, very comfortable. Handrail on my side, but look at the amount of distance I've covered. That really gives you a feeling of how much these decks, how tall these decks are. Remember, we did this before in the master cabin. Look at this. So really, we're coming up into the another floor of a house. So that's the feeling. So welcome to the Azimuth 36-meter upper deck. Look at this. Fantastic. I want to spend the day here. So remember, when we were downstairs in the salon, we look at the dining. The owner of this boat decided to get the formal dining downstairs. But I told you that you can have instead a full lounging salon. Right there where the dining is, there will be 4 club chairs, a coffee table for an extra lounging. If that is your preference, this becomes your formal dining. If instead you want your formal dining downstairs, like we have seen on this unit, then this becomes your media room. That's the way we would call it. So this is now your media room, and look at the amount of light and air and flow of nature that you have in this room. So you have not 1, not 2, 3 electric automatic doors which surround 270 degrees of this incredible room or deck, and they are automatic. This obviously is a standard door. This is always here. These 2 doors can be either selected as an option and they open and close, or if not selected, they will be just a frameless window, just as we see in the lower salon. So same kind of feeling, same kind of size, immense window, or automatic door, which created this very open feeling. For instance, in a day like this, obviously by video you cannot feel the weather, but you can tell. Usually in some videos I'm sweating like There is no tomorrow. Today is perfect. Today is the day where you want this door open all day long. There's a beautiful, nice breeze coming in. So this is extremely comfortable, and you will spend time here with the doors open. Again, you will be in another context at the anchor in a beautiful place, and these doors open give you really a feeling of openness. If you stay there, I want to show a little bit of technical storage here. Maybe go there, and because we're going to look inside here. So little storage here and some technical controls. This is actually remote control and a button for your TV system coming down from the ceiling. I guess the remote control, there's no battery, but you can see there that what the remote control would have done. Again, this boat is brand new, arrived here 3 days ago, so there are things where batteries have not been put into place. But this is the TV, that's why we call it the media room, because look at the size of that TV, and also pivots as well, so it can rotate, and then it can face perfectly this sofa, and then you see the size of those speakers on the ceiling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a full surround system. So this is the perfect spot where you close your curtains, or at night with the dark, you close the doors and you watch a movie. This is really a media room for real. And then once you're done, you retract your TV. As we have seen in the Salon, it disappears and doesn't pollute your view. And then you have your beautiful opening. Technical space, while we close the TV, this, very practical, gives you access. Actually, this shows us very beautiful things. This is where I get excited. So number one, the motor of the door. In case of you need to service automatic door, this is your belt, which moves the door, open and close. This is the electric motor, electric contacts right here, so everything is easily accessible. I don't get excited too much about a motor, but of that, look at that. That is all black, because the entire superstructure of this boat is carbon fiber. Carbon fiber, why? Not because the boat goes faster, but we can, on a boat is extremely important, stability is number one. You want boats to be very stable, the most stable as possible. But on the other hand, the market demands for more and more and more decks and outdoor space. So we as builders and engineers, we need to be able to create products which offer more space in the higher part of the boat. That's where people want to spend time, flybridge, upper deck, sun decks. But we are forced, we need to keep weight down. We need to make it as light as possible. That's why we introduce a lot of carbon fiber in our project, which requires significant investment of money, because not only carbon fiber is more expensive as a material, the resin that you use to laminate with carbon fiber is more expensive than standard glass fiber, but carbon fiber unfortunately requires an extra process, which is called post-curing, meaning that once you have extracted a product from the mold and is laminated in carbon fiber, you need to keep it for a certain amount of time into a controlled temperature and moisture environment in order to allow the resin to finish its curing process, which is intrinsic. So that means that you're basically building, you need to build ovens. We call them ovens because you obviously raise the temperature, control the moisture, and you need to bake, imagine that, in a way, the manufact that you have just done in carbon fiber. If you do an 100-something feet entire superstructure, like in the case of this boat or the tri-deck Azimuth, you need to have a post-curing oven, which is at least 106 feet long to fit the entire piece in it by, 25, 30 feet wide. So that's why it's very expensive. Not only the material, not only the resin, but also the post-curing process. So it's very important. That's why we highlight it so much, because it's a big effort and gives a lot of value to the product, also in terms of cost, to have the superstructure in carbon fiber. And that's the only way you can achieve the space and volumes that you see on this boat. If this would be fiberglass instead of carbon fiber, it would be 35 to 40% smaller. It would be just too heavy. So you have the hull, which is made in fiberglass. That's where you want your weight, low. And then all the superstructure, you have it in carbon fiber, which can allow it to make this side, but keep it light. and that's what you see right here. Sorry for the long story, but that's the exciting part that we were talking about before. So you have storage here, okay, and on this side, I open it so you can see it. You have a storage and the refrigerator, wine cooler to serve this area of the upper deck. We'll see there are extra refrigeration obviously for other area. Remember that, we saw this before. You need battery charging. This is a integrated battery charger for your phone next to another beautiful, and you see how different, this is the third or the fourth. Well, if we include the nightstand lights, it's probably the sixth light that we see. Designed by Achille Salvagni for the 36 meters, and they're all different. Each one integrated with an area, but they're all different. They're all unique pieces designed by the designer for this project. Here, media room, storage, very practical, deep. Board games. This is an area where you can have fun and play with friends. Extra bottle of liquor, and here you have other storage, which is again, as we saw before, the audio video rack dedicated to this upper deck, and a little storage there, remote controls and so on and so forth. We saw these doors, electric and automatic, but appreciate how flush. I'm walking on this, and no matter where I go, my feet don't have any constraint anywhere. So completely flush, rails integrated, drained, and so this is again an important aspect. From an engineering standpoint, what wasn't easy, that door is the one you are in, you don't need to move, is easy to install. It's straight, sorry. Look at these doors. Both of these doors, they are installed on an angle, and from an engineering standpoint, you can appreciate probably the angle here. From an engineering standpoint, this was a difficult challenge for our technical department to achieve. Then we go on this side, and actually let's do the upper deck first, and then we go back. Remind me to go back that way, so we open the door and we show. So upper deck, outdoor now. Storage here with a beautiful, trays integrated, designed by Achille Salvagni here. This is storage, and this, you remember before I mentioned the famous UTA, which that is a filtration system. Very simple actually. You open this panel right here, and that is a filter. So air is driven by this Munter's filter right here, which also prevented any water. So when you wash the boat, no water can come into this area by this filter, but airflow comes from here, going there, is filtered, and then is distributed into the boat and clean. So you have, as I said before, extraction and input of air by mechanical milling, which filter the air before is input into the boat. So this is your UTA, this is the control panel of your UTA, and storage. This side, extra storage, so additional storage, and refrigeration. So you have a refrigerator here, we said, and ice maker here. Beautiful bottle of Ferrari Rosé ready to go. And so this can be storage or extra refrigeration, because we'll see you have refrigeration also over there in the barbecue cabinet. Beautiful glass panels here, so no constraint. They protect you from the weather. This area is a little bit more secluded if you wish, but you can still see outside. Of course, audio, video, television, you see this one here. And beautiful lounging and conversating area. This area is extremely versatile. We'll see how. Actually, yesterday here at the boat show, I don't think I've seen the boat for more than 10 minutes without 4 or 5 people lounging and chit-chatting here and sitting. So this area is really welcoming. The chairs are comfortable. Again, all designed by Achille Salvagni, but look at the ergonomy. Big, spacious. You can really spend time here. The same goes with the sofas, and every little area has also is a clever interpretation, so extra storage, why not? So coffee table, rounded and design oriented, but also practical. Sofa on this side, again, extremely wide and comfortable. So picture yourself 2-3 people here, 2 people there, and you can have a conversation, you can watch TV, watch the game, the chairs moves, so you can create really a very dynamic environment al fresco under the roof. So also in weather, if it's too hot, if it's raining, and not dramatically, you can spend good time here. You come to this side, and this again can be another lounging conversation area, because the table is electro-hydraulic, go down, and this is in his coffee table position, which is also very comfortable to lounge. Again, you want to be a little bit more comfortable, you know, spending good time on board with friends and lounging and chit-chatting. This is the configuration. But then with remote control or touch of a button, this table comes up, and these 2 wings, as you can see, they open. And so when you picture the table up and the wings open, this is your second al fresco dining. We saw the first one downstairs in the cockpit, the beautiful table that is fixed. This one is more versatile, so it can work as a coffee table or come all the way up, remote control or switch, either or, expand, and then becomes al fresco dining on the outside. You go aft, of course, shade is provided by these 4 carbon fiber poles right here, custom made for the 36 meters. This sail, you know, get attached to hooking point on the superstructure, and then you have shade. You have a smaller one which gets only to these poles right here, so you can leave this side exposed in the sun, or you have this one which is full size. Of course, now the sun is getting us on an angle, but this will be the sunbathing area. This backrest rotates, so you tilt it, you push it up, tilt it, and becomes your headrest for this incredible comfortable. Look at the size of this sunbathing area now. So you can easily fit 4 adults bathing in the sun here for hours, and in super comfort. Too bad this is day, because at night these are your LED light pop-up, and you know, when you don't want them, they stay down, integrated in this profile, and then when you pop them out, you probably have seen, I hope, in the video, they light up, and at night they give a fantastic you know, effect. These are speakers that the owner asked us to put on board, so those are for music. You see the jack to plug them in, and they bolt into the deck, but we also can provide any other kind of audio video system required. Good. Now, grill station. Look at this piece of art. So of course we have a triple canyon barbecue. This configuration has been chosen with 2 grills and a plate. It can be 3 grills, can be 2 plates. So, but is fully integrated, electric. This really works. American product, and so you're guaranteed that grilling is top quality. Actually, I have the same identical grill in my own house, so that's how much I loved it. I bought it for myself. I put it in my house. This is what I use in my personal life to grill with my family, so I can personally guarantee for the quality of that grill. Integrated sink here, which disappear with this beautiful shape cover here, so provided countertop, and then we have you know, storage here, and storage here, and storage here for your need, or we can integrate the refrigeration and ice making also in this cabinet if so requested. I will not waste too much of your time. Maybe I show you one. Come here. But this entire, every piece of furniture apart from the 2 chairs, every single piece of furniture I show you is storage. So you see, you lift the crew lift, and you have these isolation panels right here that provide dry storage to, you see that's another one, so the entire, and they're made in more pieces to be more versatile, lighter panels to move. These grooves are designed to drain water, so water drains away instead of making puddles under there. There is a pitch into the piece of furniture and grooves to drain the water away. And then imagine this entire surface right here, all these islands right here and all that sofa right there, they are done the same way with panels that you remove and is full storage underneath. So again, upper deck. I know we need to go from there, but I want you to, if you don't mind, to look at this deck from here. Maybe come there and shoot forward, because this is what we call infinity deck. This is where the 36 meter is what we call asymmetric. So on the other side, I'll show you what happened, but on this side, you see the deck go all the way to the bow, and we'll go there, but that's what we call infinity deck. So typically, actually the 27 meter Azimuth here next door is a good example. Typically on wide body design, which is where the master cabin is in the bow, that's why it's called wide body, because the side walkings don't go all the way down to the bow. Typically you have two stairs going to the bow, one per side. 36 meters innovation from Azimuth. We think that one stair is enough. So the other side, which is the port side, allow us to make an infinity deck. So from this deck, you can go all the way to the bow without the need to go to the lower deck, which is actually pretty cool and very convenient and comfortable. We'll see why. And if you come on this side, you might wonder why on one side only. You understand it immediately here, because if we go this way, you need to go to the bow also from the lower deck. So you see, here you understand, below here, this is the stairs which goes to the bow from the lower deck. You see those 3 steps, they go all the way down. That's why you have this carter right here. The stairs go down that way. On the other side, instead, we have been able to have the infinity deck from this deck go all the way down to the bow. So if we go this way, I'll open the door that you recommended me to do before. So you press the button here, you open this door, and now we set it up in a way where you need to press the button because we are the boat show, but of course all 3 doors can be set up automatically. So there is a cell system. When they detect your body, the door opens automatically without pressing any button. So you can set them up as you prefer. And so this gives you, you can maybe shoot both ways. This gives you the feeling of this infinity deck where you can go now all the way to the bow. Let me close, well, this block. You can go, we'll talk about this stuff later, but I want you to feel that you are now going all the way. Actually, don't miss that. That is the other introduction we're doing at this Cannes Boat Show. We'll have a video coming out on that one as well. This is the brand new Azimut 26 meters Grande, which is probably coming back from a sea trial. Yes, it's actually going in the dock right there. And is another new model. Sorry if I divert a little, but it's worth-it. It's not easy to see it. It's the only one existing and has been introduced for the first time here at this Cannes Boat Show, exactly as the 36 meter. And that's also very interesting features on the boat that we'll see through time. Let's go back on the 36 meter, which I think this is becoming already too long, but it's a lot of boat. 280 GT of volume of space is immense, this 36 meters, and this is the tri-deck version, so we still have to go on another deck and then go down in the technical spaces. Bow, you can see how comfortable, how massive, how many people can have a great time here. Look at the depth. This is really an area which is we designed it to lounge, to have fun, to have comfort, to spend a lot of time here. Look at the depth. This is really an area where you want to be comfortable and lounge. You want to chill, you want to relax, you want to spend time with your friends in the most comfort possible. So that's why everything is extra wide, extra deep. The back support is incredible. You have these tables which can be fixed. This is the way that the customer of this boat requested them, can be high-low. So they create even a more lounging with a coffee table configuration. So a lot of space, a lot of comfort. Sunbathing, again, for adults. Even let me lay down in the shorter of the 4 to give you an exact feeling of the dimension and space. This is the shorter of the 4, and look at the ergonomics. This is perfect. You can have 2 couples hanging out in the sun here or in the shade, provided, as we have seen on the aft side, by this mesh curtain and 6 carbon fiber poles, which are extremely light. They store perfectly under designated storage under these sofa and lounging areas, along with the shade, and then when you want shade, the crew just put them up. And if we move a little forward, we get to this tub, this jacuzzi tub, which, let me turn it on for you so you can see what it will really look like. That's the way I would be in it. Of course, warm water if you want it. And this tub, apart from the beauty and the coolness of it, we didn't find on the market a tub which would satisfy our need, so we designed our own. So this tub has been designed and engineered by our technical department. We have made the mold of the fiberglass part, integrated the tempered glass to contain the water, and look, I think it came out so beautiful and fantastic. So imagine here, now is night, the light, you're at the anchor, and again in a beautiful place, there is little light. You pop up your light on both sides, drinks here, and what is better than enjoying time in your hot tub. Practical storage on the side, on each side of the hot tub, and you know, that's, I think it gives you the feeling of how this would feel to be. So we go on the other side, and now we're gonna go into some deep technical areas, which if you're interested, you can keep on watching. If you're not, you can skip forward, but I think is worth it showing. But first of all, every stainless steel piece and accessory you see on board of this boat is handmade, designed, made, welded, polished for the Azimuth 36 meter, in this case hull number 11. So each piece is handmade in Viareggio by artisan and artists of now stainless steel work, and including handles, including all these handrails. We'll see later a junction point, which I saw and I noticed yesterday is a piece of art, but let's keep going down. So this is an area where actually I will probably ask you to come down with me. There are a few components here that actually, let me see if we can stop this, because I understand now it makes noise. Okay. Let me stop that, just because the air pump is down here and it makes noise, so I don't want you to feel too much noise. So you think you can come down here with me? Well, I'll stay there. Maybe come down, just shoot down as best as you can. It's good, you can see well. So because here is interesting. So first of all, these two beauties right here. We discussed about the bow thruster before, which is 70 kW. 70 kW does create strong harmonic currents, which would disturb rest of the electrical components on board. You want very low harmonic disturbances on the electrical line as you can. That's why an equipment which is so powerful and so strong requires an harmonic filter. So this big box right here is what filters the harmonics from the bow thruster when it's in operation. And this is actually the frequency drive. And again, I don't know how much experience you have on frequency drive, but this, trust me, this is a big frequency drive. That's again dedicated to the bow thruster. What a frequency drive does is basically a dampener of power. So instead of the bow thruster taking all the power right away, this unit right here gives the power to the thruster gradually, okay? So it's not that heavy on the generators that demand power right away. Instead of being, imagine the frequency drive as a dimmer for lights. Instead of a light coming on, like bam, daylight, it comes on gradually and goes from dark to mid, medium, and then daylight. That's what the frequency drive does. They're very expensive pieces of equipment, and this is what the bow thruster requires. Other systems which are unique when you come to this kind of size of boat, this is another UTA, the one we saw before. These provide air to the owner cabin, owner bathroom, and crew quarters. So fresh air come into here from an intake which is under this panel right here on the side. So really the freshest air you can, get filtered, and then get distributed through the boat as a filter air and extracted from the boat as well. These are your valves in case of a fire. Obviously, you want to remove any source of air to feed the fire, which would feed the fire. So all these valves that you see, they're all integrated into the firefighting system. You see they're electrically operated, and I'm sure you can see a green LED light here, which shows that this valve is open, and you can control them manually through this lever or electronically. We'll see how later on. And you know, they shut off in case of fire. They automatically or manually shut off, and so to cut the air throughout the boat. And then on this side, this is all the hot tub equipment. So you have the compensation water tank right here dedicated to the hot tub. So that water tank right there is what feeds the hot tub. So you're not using the tank of the boat. Filtering system, pump system, you have the air and water. So the bubbles obviously is an air pump which throw air into the tub, which is right there. And this is your water pump, which makes the water constantly recirculate. Basically, this is like a pool. That's a filter right there. So all what I wanted to show is how accessible, how easy it is to work and maintain on technical area, and also the fit and finish, the value of the equipment. These are all components which cost a lot of money. So it's important to show them, and the respect that we put in the quality of installation is the same for a beautiful piece of furniture from Achille Salvagni, which is tens of thousands of euros, but the same goes with an harmonic filter for the bow thruster on a frequency drive. So that's what I like to show in this video, is also the backstage, because there is a lot of cool system which I think are worth taking a look at. Now let's go, and then we're done with the bow. Let's go here to the extreme bow, talking about stainless steel. While you're here, those are the things that to me are, again, pieces of art. Each of these cleats, each of these gunnels, they're all custom made, handmade, hand polished, hand welded by our artisans in Viareggio. This is not stuff that you buy off the shelf anywhere. These are created from stainless steel from zero, and for these specific units. The same goes here. All those rollers for the lines, the plates of the windlasses. Windlasses are instead manufactured by third party. We buy them installed, but all the plates are instead done by us. And this also gives you an idea of the size of the anchor locker, double anchors, and a lot of room. You see how deep it is down there for cleaning product, all fenders of the boat, and so on and so forth, you name it. The amount of storage that you have in this anchor locker makes sure that everything that you don't want to see around is down there, off, protected from the elements, protected from the weather, and doesn't bother the owner. Cool feature which you know, you start seeing on bigger boats as this is the control for the windlasses, which is really a technical piece of equipment. You see the fitting here to connect it. You know, it goes to this port right here, and you open the port, and you know, it's very industrial look, and you can control not only the up and down of both windlasses, but also their speed. You know, to a potentiometer here, you can start and stop the system, control the speed of each of the windlasses. Emergency stop in case something is wrong and doesn't respond, is cut the power completely. And then you have your up and down, and you know, it's very nice, sturdy, but you can feel that is a different kind of standards when you get to this kind of size. These are 3-phase, 400 volts, so a lot of power to bring up those chain. And the same you have here. So in case the remote control would stop working, you can of course control your chain wash system from here. Maybe when you go by, you take a quick look, up and down, and you know, the on and off of the windlasses from here. on the side, you see from there, you pointed out, you have two wing controls. Those are the wing controls that captains use to maneuver boats of this size. The tri-deck, which is right there, you see that geometry right there, that you know, trapeze geometry just in front of the door, that swings open, that's a tri-deck azimuth. That's a wing control on the tri-deck. On the 36 meter, this is the wing control. Of course, you have your engine control levers right here, your bow thruster we talk so much about. You have your rudder indicators. This is your tiller. You don't have a wheel here, but it doesn't fit, but this is your rudder control. This is how you turn your rudders. This is your engine control, and this gives you the RPMs of your engine. So when you maneuver the boat, you can be here and use your thruster, use your levers, and put this incredible piece of art safely at their dock. When you're done, you just pull this, and you know, you make this rotate, and these integrate beautifully and disappear, and doesn't affect the design. So we'll leave it closed for now. And let's go in the control room, which is the helm station. Helm station that first and foremost is actually very comfortable, very well designed. You see how open and roomy it feels. And this is obviously your bolster, which can work also as you know, a seat, if I understand how it works, which is like this. So it can be a seat. Typically on both these sides, you don't spend too much time sitting at the wheel. You are on longer ranges on autopilot. While we'll talk about range, a cruising speed, which is 18 knots. The 36 meter Azimuth has 500 miles of range. Typically transfers on boats this big though are done by the crew, and they are done at much lower speed, and that lower speed in around the 10 knots average, it gets to 1,500 miles. So you triple the range at 10 knots, but you have the boat goes anywhere between 23, 24 knots wide open. It cruises at 18, 19. In that kind of range, you have a 500 miles range. So I said you don't spend much time sitting here because typically you plan your course, you plan your routes, you are on autopilot, and what you do, you do what we call watches. You need to be here, making sure that everything is running the way it's supposed to be, but you don't have to be with your hands on the wheel and sitting down. That's why there is instead sofas. This is where typically you will do your charting, and sofa is very comfortable to you know, spend time here. You are in control. You have those big displays, and you can be you know, doing your watches from the sofas. You have a convenient storage and audio video rack, an internet distribution panel right here behind this door, and you have storage, of course, under this cushion, and you'll see these two opening wings. That's where you have redundancy. That's where you have your MTU, which is the power of this boat, is 16V2000. The standard, we'll see them later, they're beautiful piece of machinery. The standard propulsion is 2,200 horsepower each, and we offer an upgrade to 2,400 horsepower each. So MTU control panels are right here, and your backup display data from Furuno is right there. Rudder indicator, speed, course on the ground, and so on and so forth. And your talk to intercom, if you wish, is right here. So you can talk to the bow, to the engine room, to the steering room with that, even though crew nowadays, they all have their VHF system on their belts, but that is also a very important safety component. And this is your helm. This is the control station. So, of course, this offers all the standards. So, plotting navigation, radar interface with navigation, deep sounders, and we will not go too much into the navigation part of it because I think it's pretty standard, pretty known. We actually have an interesting side here which shows that the cameras that you have on board can be displayed on all the monitoring system. I didn't stop at it before, but you might have noticed, or if you go back you see it, there is a little bit smaller version of this down in the crew quarters, which provide the crew access to all the features that these do from the crew mess. So that's the replica, if you wish. And what is interesting instead is the monitoring system, what we call the monitoring system. So, but well, the home button is where you leave it most of the time, where you have the beautiful design of the boat. But then here, engines is that page right there. So it gives you all the information of your engines, from speed to RPMs, or pressure, temperature, and of course you can add, remove, reconfigure any icon as you wish. But then, you know, this is your bilge system. This shows to you, and we'll look at it later as well. This is a page fully dedicated to your bilge management system. On both of these sides, you don't have small little bilge pumps per area. You have a main bilge pump, which can also be replaced by the fire pump, so they are interchangeable, like the gray and black water we saw before. And then you have, substantially, is an hydraulic system, so you know, Copernican hosing, which go through in the entire boat, and they have suction areas in every bilge. So you're controlling now valves. Instead of controlling pumps, the pump is one, and by the valves that you open or close, that pump will suction from a certain area. So you make the pump turn on, and you have 10 valves in 10 different spots. Once you open one of those 10 valves, then suction is created and takes water out. Then you close that valve and you go to the next. Or you can open 2, 3, whatever you need. So this page here, right here, is dedicated only to control bilge pumps and bilge valves. And tanks, same thing. Black and gray, we saw the pumps, we saw the tank, freshwater tank, you know, 3,500 liters, give or take 1,000 gallons of fresh water. And then you have the fuel tank, which is starboard and port, and this is the day tank. So you have the tank levels here, location on the boat. So this is the drawing of the boat, and this is where the tanks are located by color. And then you control and close or open your fuel valve, and you control all your pumps from here. Navigation, this turn on and off, you know, all the lights, anchor light, navigation light, and compass light, underwater lights. You control your horn from here, so this is your navigation page right here. AC plant. This is a very sophisticated system. We'll see it there in a minute. This is where you read your data, and you can interact with the AC power. AC is alternate current, is the power you have at home. So this, the sources can be shore, as we have right now. This is what we are telling us, that is 400 volts, 3-phase, 1, 2, 3 phases, 400 volts, give or take. And that tells us the amount of power we're taking from shore. And you see, this is open, this is open, this is closed. That tells us that we are taking power from the dock and going to the boat. This will be your generators. These are all zeros because they're off right now. So this is where you manage your AC power. DC power, similar, a little bit more complex, because now this is your batteries power, and there is a lot of batteries on board. There is batteries for many different systems, from lighting to generators, battery started, engine battery started, engine electronics. There is battery chargers. We'll see where and how. So this is where you control all your DC power distribution and levels and switches, on-off switches. Doors and hatches, this is actually interesting, unique feature when you come to this kind of size of boat. There is sensors on all doors and hatches, so the crew can know before taking off the dock and so on and so forth, or can know when and where weather changes. They come here and see which are the doors that are open without the need to go and tour the entire boat, which will take much more time. So this is where you control all your doors and hatches, and this window right here, very easy, green and red, tells you if the door is open or closed, you know, if there is alarms indoors. Machinery is, you know, the fans and ventilation of your engine room. When you have the generators running, of course, when you cruise, ventilation and extraction is very important. But also when you have your ventilation, your generators running, you want to provide them with a good amount of air, so you can control all fans, make them as intake, make it as extraction, and regulate the speed. So this is where you control, you know, all your ventilation of the tender garage and the engine room down there. So again, then alarms, historic alarms, and so on and so forth. So I think we spend enough time on the monitoring system, but this is just to give you an idea that from here you can control digitally, very conveniently, very quick, all the boat. And another one of these is in the crew masses, so they can control from down there on sea, from down there, everything going on. Here you have these beautiful panels which have a window, an inlay, and then you open. This is your replica of that. That is a computer. It's nice, convenient, fast, and beautiful to look at, but as every computer sometimes might need to restart, so we always back it up with the traditional manual control for all the system which requires. So for instance, the watertight doors and hatches, that same image that we saw here, there is right here. In case that wouldn't work, you want to know what are the watertight door and hatches and in which positions they are. And the same goes with all the other controls. The windshield wipers, for instance, you're navigating, your monitoring system doesn't work, you want to make sure that you have windshield wipers, you control it mechanically from there. Firefighting pump, bilge pump, start, stop, enable, disable, so everything absolutely manually operated from here. Your alarm management system, and you know, your shutdown emergency button are right here. See the air dampers, fare dampers, air extractor that we talked about before. If you want all those valves to close in an emergency situation, you just push these three buttons with the touch of a hand and everything closes. 230 volt distribution for this deck, as we said, and then convenient drawers for storage and charts and flags and everything a helm station need. The same goes here. This is more control. These are all your navigation light. Same thing. We can control them from the monitoring system. If that for some reason freezes or need to restart and you need to instead change lighting, you want to make sure that you control all your navigation lights. They're a very mechanical switch, on, off. These controls all your DC power, so voltage and amperage draw, you see. Emergency battery, I have 26.3 volts, and I know that I'm charging now 10.3 amps. So, and this goes for every battery banks. And this is 24 volts DC power panel for these components in this area. Drawers there, same, we don't repeat. Last but not least, here you have a main control panel, and as I said, the same goes for your bilge. So this panel alone is what we have seen there in the monitoring system, but traditionally manual mechanical. So here you control, this actually gives you maybe a better and easier to understand logic of the bilge system, because here you start and stop the pump, and here you open and close each valve of each area. So these are all the bilge suction areas on the boat. Once you turn on the pump and you close this valve in the aft port technical area, I know that I'm turning on, I'm opening the valve right here, and then the suction starts and I take water out. And same 240 and 400 volts AC distribution panel here for the area up here. So we can probably go down to the engine room. Oh no, what I'm talking about, we need to do the sun deck. I almost forgot. See, when the boats are so big, you risk to forget areas. And so let's finish the sun deck and then we go down to the engine room, steering area, and garage. Sun deck, so extra step. Look at this beautiful area. So this is where really the layout to become versatile, because now we have seen you can have 4 or 5. I mean, it's beautiful to spend a lot of time together on boats, but sometimes, you know, you have, especially for the day, your friends come along with their tenders from their boat. So of course you can have a maximum here of 12 guests on board. But then when you go cruising, it's very typical that some other friends come see you with their boats, with their tenders. So you easily can have 30, 35, 40 people spending time in the day on board on a boat like this. And now look at how much you can distribute. So you can have people in the cockpit and enjoying a certain environment, and maybe you know, having you know, a certain kind of conversation, which they don't want to be bothered maybe by loud music. Make an example. And then in the bow, you have another group of people. In the upper deck, you have other people inside or outside. And here, you have another group of people. Maybe here you have the teenagers. They want to be by themselves with blasting music a little louder, and they have their own bar. So that gives you an idea of versatile, how much space, big, large families and group of friends can have, each one can have different areas on the outside and inside, but on the outside on a boat this size. And so without, you know, spending too much time, this of course it would be the more sunbathing area, beautiful comfortable sofas. As we said, for the upper deck aft, each area has integrated storage for all your covers, extra supplies. For instance, this bar, in order to have always supplies available here, the crew just can fill part of this sofa with extra sodas and waters and alcohols, whatever, and then you have extra supply, because then on this side, of course, you have you know, storage under the sink, ventilation, you have a refrigerator, ice maker, storage. On this side, actually on this side right there, you have also an inlet for fresh water to wash the deck from here, so you don't have to run a hose from the dock all the way to up here, but you just plug, you leave a hose here under the sofa, for example, perfect spot. Then you take it out, plug the hose right there to that input, and then you can fresh wash the sun deck without the need to bring a hose all the way up here. And same pop-up lights, and then the aft side, the owner of this boat decided to go with these lounge chairs, but of course we leave it open. Each owner can decide to dress this area the way they want. We have had people put in Technogym. Actually, that's a good example right there. If you shoot the tri-deck next door, I was just saying, we had owners put in their Technogym machines to work out, and that's right there. Perfect example where you can put a beautiful cyclette down here, a rower, whatever you are, whatever workout you are into. This is a beautiful area where you can exercise, always have some breeze, so it's the freshest part of the boat, and or you can have some extra sunbathing. So this is the last deck, I promise, and is the sun deck of these brand new 36 meters, which of course is in the version tri-deck. So the 36 meters while we're here, we make it, the standard is coupe. So imagine that this deck doesn't exist. This will be a roof. So the boat is you know, not as tall, but is missing this deck. And or we offer it as what we call a tri-deck version, which includes this sun deck. For the American market, stay there, maybe just turn around, it's important to mention that the geometry between the hardtop and the windshield frame is so perfectly straight that in case you would like to enclose this sun deck in the Pacific Northwest or in the north of the United States and Canada, it's very common that areas like this, when the weather gets a little colder, they like to be enclosed. They put the easy see-through glass, so it's very easy to enclose it. The geometry is perfectly made to enclose it. So let's now go down to the engine room and garage and lazarette, and then I promise we are done. And actually it's 10 o'clock, so that's why the boat show now is formally open. And that's why we have, look at 10:04, and we already have people boarding in the boat. So that tells you that they were really waiting for the show to open to come admire the 36 meter, which is great. And is also good for us because we have done all the interior and exteriors, and now we go down into the deep heart of the boat from this side. So very important here, engine room, one of the three engine room technical space access. Beautiful, comfortable stairs, and you'll see here, if you come a little forward, I want to just show that because it's very important to have this located here. This is your emergency shutdown panel. So if, God forbid, you need to use it, you want to be able to open this door and, you know, flip and switch any area that you feel, flip and switch the extinguisher release system and just get out. So that's why it's located here, easily accessible, and you know, you control all your emergency shutdown from there. Then you come down here, and we get into the heart of the boat. People know, I always repeat, this is, to me, is my favorite areas of every yacht, because you know, I come from a technical background, and if no matter how beautiful and how well designed everything we have seen so far is, if this is not designed, engineered, and built right, the experience up there might be not exactly what you expect. So that's why, to me, these areas are extremely important. I like to show them, and because again, no matter how pretty it is, the up there, if the down here doesn't work right, the experience will not be matched. So going into systems, okay. Hydraulic pack. So there is a lot of areas and components on this boat which are moved by hydraulic. For instance, when we start the video, you see the beach club. There's an immense door that is moved up and down by hydraulic system. The garage door, you'll see, comes out and move and pivot like that. The garage door, which by the way is in carbon fiber to keep the weight down of the door, is hydraulic. The gangway we board from on board is hydraulic. So there is a lot of hydraulic systems on board. And then, of course, the steering system is hydraulic, but that has its own system. So this is an hydraulic oil tank, and these are hydraulic pumps, and this is a distribution manifold which brings oil to this manifold right here. So every one of these you see, these are called solenoids. These are basically, it's very simple. It looks complex, but this system is extremely simple. Number one, redundancy. So this is an AC pump. So this is the power you have at home that feed this pump. God forbid you miss that power, the generator doesn't work, you need to move something electrically. DC pump. This takes power from the batteries on the boat. So AC, DC. Emergency control for the DC pump. It's very rare that something happens, so on the AC system, so typically this is the pump which would operate everything. In case it happens, as I said, DC pump, which you can control everything remotely using this pump. And in case of further problem also on the control system, then you hear it, you can come down here and control this pump by this switch, so everything becomes really manual. So what this system does, create oil pressure. Oil pressure goes into this manifold, and then every time you press something, you press a button, you say up, down, left, right, you are opening or closing any one of these valves. So this is basically the same thing because it still is an hydraulic system, but for safety reason, the steering system has its own. You don't want to mix the steering system. The steering system is obviously a deep safety system, which is what makes the boat goes where you want it to go. So the rudders are extremely big surfaces which need to be moved hydraulically. So you have your AC pump here for your steering system. distribution manifold here, which distribute the oil, pressure gauges right here. So as you can see, this is a much simpler system than that, because this really controls only 4 valves, you know, rudder port, rudder starboard, that's it. That's this entire machine is dedicated only to 4 valves, because that's an emergency system, can be the rudders, and so they have their own redundancy. Also here you have a DC power pump, so in case this pump goes bad, you have a DC power pump right here. And you see they give oil to the same manifold. This is the distribution manifold of the steering system hydraulic fluid, which by the way is here. These are cans of steering system. And you know, and depending which pump you use, you come down here and you would open these valves, which right now are closed, as you can see. You open these valves and now the flow from here goes to the rudders. Here is your rudder indicator, so in case of emergency, there will be a crew member which from this equipment right here can talk to the helm, and the helm can talk to this area right here, and this is your rudder and steering indicator, so you can control your steering system from here, driven by someone in the helm which tells you what to do and where to go. So we have you know, other pieces of equipment here which are very important. Your Glendinning cable master right here. So this gives you an idea of the amount of power. This is the cable, 3-phase 400 volt AC cable that you have 1 per side. This is your main breaker panel, which this is where the main power, you see that white cable right there, is coming from here. And this is where power from shore comes into the boat and then get distributed through the panels that we see in the engine room. This we'll see later is access to the beach club. So from a technical standpoint, the crew need to maneuver, they need to do something here. This is easy access to the beach club, and we have another door on the other side. What I forgot to say when we were in the Helm is that we have a new system on this 36 meter which integrate stabilizers and autopilot. So to make sure that the fins and the autopilot move in sync to create even a better navigation experience for the guests on board. And that system is called Argo, and yeah, is an integration of the CMC electric fin stabilizer with the Furono autopilot. Behind you is the firefighting system. It's big and red, so it's pretty clear. Let's go in the engine room first, and then we do the garage last. Ah, look at this. Look at this. Beautiful. So, well, let's start from big. As we said before, 16V 2000 MTU, 2200 horsepower, standard propulsion system. We offer the upgrade to 2400. The blocks will be the same. So MTU is a Mercedes-Benz group, and there is their marine division. And so this is, you know, standard shaft line configuration. And under here will not waste your time and open it, but this is where all your sea chests and sea cocks for water, raw water distributions are. And here instead, and this is interesting, this is your fuel distribution manifold and pump. So from here, you turn on your pump from the electrical panel right there. And here, depending on which valve you open or close, you are moving fuel around. So you have 2 port and starboard main fuel tank, which then put fuel into the day tank. Day tank put fuel through those filters and these filters through the engines and generators. So that's your fuel distribution systems. Then what else we have? On that side, let me go there, so you can come here, I go there, so you probably is the best shooting angle. This side is water. So here you have a double water maker. So you see these are two water maker machines. You see everything kind of look the same because it's two on top of each other, two pumps, so redundancy, water maker here. This is your bilge and fire pumps, the one we discussed before. Again, this is the bilge pump that I mentioned to you, and this is the strainer when water comes, and you see that this is the hosing which goes down through the boat, and you have things kind of like this, if you wish, that suck, you know, water, and this is a you know, a flexible one right here. The other one are fixed in the bilges, but your areas like that. You see this valve is closed right now. If I want to suction water from this bilge right here, what I'll do, I open this valve, turn on this pump, and now suction is right there. The same applies to the rest of the areas. Firefighting, so obviously this takes water, strong quantity of water from the ocean, and put it in various ports on the boat where you connect a hose to fight fire. Fresh water, redundancy, big AC power fresh water pump, fresh water filter right there, so all the water which goes into the bathrooms of the boat is pre-filtered right there. And redundancy, of course you don't want to lose the fresh water pumps, so you have double. Going this way while I pass next to it, 70 kW generator, and you have two. The other one is right there, twins. So you have a total of 140 kW of power available on the boat. We discussed before that the bow thruster alone is 70 kW. So when you maneuver, there is a very, what we're talking about, there's a very sophisticated system which is right here. This is your control panel for your generators. Through these panels, that's what I was talking about as far as being sophisticated. Not only these are three-phase 400 volts generators, but because of the layout of boats of this size, when you maneuver and you turn on the bow thruster, if you do have already both generators on, what the system does in automatic, they put them in parallel. Okay, so now you have, it's like, imagine that you have 140 kW generator for the entire boat, which the thruster can take is 70 kW, but you still have another 70 for the rest of the boat. And so the distribution of power is all automated. In case instead you are running one generator only because you're cruising and you come back from a cruise and you don't need two generators. One generator is more than enough to power the entire boat with everything going on board. Then you come to port, you turn on your bow thruster because now you need it to maneuver back to your dock. This system senses it, automatically start the second generator and automatically put them in parallel again, all in automatic. So that's why, and that's not necessarily as easy as I'm telling to you to make it happen. So it's a very sophisticated, expensive, complex and highly engineered system to achieve the result. This is your AC distribution power. This right here is an isolation transformer, which is typical in boats which don't move around the world much. So you have two alternatives. You have isolation transformers, means that you know, you're not able to convert the different powers that are available in the world to the power the boat needs. Typically in the US and in the Americas, we equip the boat with the optional shore power converters. They will be here. There will be two big machineries here on rails, which slides to provide service. Those shore power converters, unlike an isolation transformer, they make the boat basically global. You can take a boat with shore power converter like this anywhere in the world. You know, in Europe we have 220 volts or 400 volts, 50 hertz, 50 cycles. In the US we have 240, 120 volt, 60 cycle. So this boat, the way it is, for instance, to make a practical example, if it goes to the US, it must stay on generator. Power must come from generators at all time, 24/7. You cannot get shore power in the US on this particular unit the way it's been spec'd. If you have shore power converters, you can take this boat to do the US or the Caribbean, power it with any marina you go, then come back here, power it, no problem. Those big machineries make the work for you, and they convert any power you give them into what the boat needs. And so this is the simple distribution panel. Interesting voltage manager for each phase, you know, L1, L2, L3, L3, L1, L3. So this tells you how much voltage you have between each of the phases. That tells you that you have the correct phase distribution, L1, L2, L3, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, correct phase distribution. This is how the phases comes from shore. Sometimes RST, sometimes SRT. So you, with this big lever, and this select which kind of power you have coming from shore, 380 or 400. So very simple panel to control the isolation transformer. Shore power converter is a little bit more complex, a little bit more automated. Everything as far as shore power converters, everything is done by the machine in automatic. You don't have to do anything. You give the power you have on the dock, you put it in, the machine understands it and translates it basically. It's like an automatic translator of power. This is your shore power control system. This is all technical stuff, which obviously is very mechanical, very manual. This again gives you the same reading as that in a digital format. And this is your fire pump and bilge pump control, emergency control system. You see here, enable and enable. That means that control is established remotely, and then you can control them instead from here if the need is. Fuel transfer pump control. This is really the bus. Bus is something interesting. Bus is the bus bar is where the AC power gets into the boat. When you have the generator, you have two sources of power. So that's why we call the bus bar are open, because each generator feed one bar. And when instead you have one source of power, which could be one generator or one shore power inlet, you close the bars, and now one source. Imagine the bars as you divide the electrical system of the boat in two halves. But you need to be able to power everything with one source, or half with one source, half with the other source. That's what the bus bars are. And you open and close them depending how many source of power you have coming into the boat. And all of that is managed by the touch screen that we saw in the Helm, the touch screen in the crew mess, or manually from here in case of backup. We talked about battery chargers before. Those are all battery chargers for various banks of batteries, service batteries, engine batteries, VHF batteries, emergency batteries. So these are all your battery chargers. Boost pump, right there. You have seen probably one on the other side as well. Boost pump is for fuel of the generator. In case the fuel tank is lower in height than the generator, and fluid doesn't tend to go uphill. So in case the pump of the generator doesn't have enough suction to take fuel from the fuel tank, you just turn that key and you have an additional pump which feeds fuel to the generator, so it doesn't have to make that much of an effort, and it comes on right away in case the system was drained. Well, while we are in front of this big guy right here, this is clearly exhaust, underwater exhaust, so no soot, no noise. Now every boat on the market is underwater exhaust. When I was young, a long time ago, it was actually very common to have above water exhaust. That's why boats were always covered in soot and they were very noisy. And instead now all exhaust goes underwater. So this is what it is. This takes the exhaust and put it underwater. This is the generator muffler to make the exhaust of the generator very quiet. That's a muffler system where water goes into it and gas goes into it and then goes overboard. And these are the cooling. This is called a riser. This is water coming from the engine, goes into the riser. You imagine you have very hot exhaust gases coming from here. Then here, this exhaust mixes with water, so it gets much colder in this section of the exhaust, and then it goes down and away. So that's why exhaust system, again, The- These components are extremely expensive. In here you have mixing between water and gases, very high temperature, very high pressure. All of this is extremely sophisticated and costs a lot of money. Air conditioning system. Air conditioning system is a chill water system. So right here, that is your raw water pumps. They take water from the ocean in order to cool down the system and create the heat exchange, if you wish. Then the gas is compressed within these two units, and that gas compression create a chill water loop, which is these two pumps right here. You see, this is why these lines are insulated, they are not. That is raw water coming from the ocean. This is fresh water in the chill water loop. Under this, is very, very cold. That's why they're insulated. That's the water which goes throughout the entire boat, passing in front of every fan coil, the air conditioning unit we have seen. There is a coil, fan coil. There's a coil where this very cold water passes through. The air blows into the coil, and that's how you condition the air. You set the temperature, and this machine makes that loop either colder or warmer, depending on the setting. The good news is that on the fan coils in the boat, there is no gas. All the gas to create the exchange and make the chill water cold happens in these two compressors right here. And everything in the living spaces, you have no gas. It's just a line of water, which is very cold and runs through the entire boat and provide, you know, cold air to the boat. Those are the MTU electronic control display. So while we talk about this power plant and we are here in the engine room, I think is perfectly fit to also talk to you a little bit about the hull design of this 36 meter, because it's pretty unique and very significant. So the hull of the 36 meter is part of the family that we call D2P, D number 2P, displacement to planning. And it consists in a hull which is extended in its waterline through something that we call the wave piercer. The wave piercer is basically the same concept of the bulbous nose that you have on large commercial ships, and which is a device used to extend the waterline and go through the water in a more hydrodynamic and more efficient way. On a planning hull becomes even more significant, because you have a lot of power and the way the boat needs to go up on plane, and that requires a lot of effort, a lot of torque and power, therefore a lot of fuel. Through the wave piercers, we created the most hydrodynamic hulls ever existing in the marketplace. And the wave piercer is a bulbous nose, but is extremely narrow, extremely pointy, so really is a pierces. It pierces through the waves and opens the water before the boat gets to it. And that increases the efficiencies, and we have data. This is not opinion, this is not information coming from a manufacturer, because we have measured data of the same power plant on similar boats in terms of weight and features and displacement, with and without a D2P hull. And we have saving which goes anywhere between 25 and 30% of fuel or efficiency, if you wish, between the two. So, and 25-30% less fuel also means 25-30% less emissions. So not only is less money spent by our client to move around with their yacht, but it's also much less impact produced by Azimut-Benetti Group into the environment and to our planet. So again, development, research, innovation, also in something which is extremely technical, like the hydrodynamic line of the hulls with this D2P hull, which again are designed to work extremely well when they're planning, and as well when they are in displacement boats. Boats like this, typically when they move around from place to place, the owner most of the time is not on board, is moved by the crew. That's where you move at 10 knots, and that's where you get the 1,500 miles that we discussed before. So an extremely innovative, technologically advanced hull design, which allow 25 to 30% less fuel consumption and 25 to 30% less emissions. So that's the D2P Azimut-Benetti hulls. So let's come out this way. So we close this door, come here, and we come right here. Garage. And then we have the beach club and we are done, I promise. So garage clearly open from the side. As I mentioned, all the structure of this door is carbon fiber. Tender, 5.5 meters tender, so extremely comfortable, generous. And jet ski, 3-seater jet ski. All those systems, for instance, the manifold, that's why you have seen that, remember the strip of solenoids, the manifold, the hydraulic manifolds, not only control this door to open and close it. You see all these lines right here, these hydraulic lines right here, they all move pistons, these right here. These lines, they all come from that manifold right there. So you understand, it's very easy. There is a pump, high pressure, valves. Once I open a valve there, what happens? Oil comes, for instance, in this line. And these lines means arm out. And so I'm letting the oil move this big system and take it out. And so on and so forth for every control, including, you see this? These lines right here, hydraulic lines. This is the pistons which lift and lower this entire mechanism, which will have a very heavy jet ski on top, so you need power. That's why it's all hydraulic. Hydraulic is very powerful. This entire slide out. You see the cremagliera here. Again, hydraulic lines here. So this entire system goes out, comes up, and the jet ski by gravity can go in the water. Then you come back, you need to roll the jet ski back in. So now you are retrieving a big piece of equipment with that line right there. Hydraulic, motor, bring it in, put it down, put it back in. And the same goes with the tender, even more because it's a heavier piece of equipment. Nice garage, you see still very high, convenient and comfortable to move around. And you see, for instance, sensors like this. They're still laying and they're not installed because once the customer select the tender that they want and the jet ski that they want, then we do the final installation of the sensors, so the system is calibrated to the actual unit. Calibrated for what? Because when I use the remote control to retrieve the jet ski, I don't have to go and see when is that I need to stop, to push, because it got to its own place. There is a sensor, and when the jet ski gets and touches that sensor, the hydraulic pressure stops automatically. That's why we install them when we know which kind of jet ski, which kind of tender has been selected for each unit. It's part of the commissioning of the boats. Let's take a look at the beach club and then we are done. And last but surely not least, let's go into this fantastic beach club. And clearly this is the garage, the beach club door, which would close, and when you get wherever you want, you open it through that hydraulic manifold, and you create this incredible and fantastic beach club. On a practical standpoint, of course, there is a storage under this entire island, so all the covers for these sofas will be stored under those hatches and storage. And this bed, I mean, look at it, it's just fantastic to spend time here. You have your kids in the water having fun, and you want to sunbathe, and look at this fantastic area, or your drinks here. And remember, the refrigerator and ice maker are just 3 steps away from here, so you can always have cold drinks here, lay in the sun. This is exactly a perfect example. I mean, I wish I can stay here all day long, and when you are too hot and you want to, in case you don't want to jump in the water of the ocean, you have your shower here integrated in the deck, so water comes from the deck into the shower. Control unit here, we don't touch it right now, I would say, but control unit here, of course, hot and cold, and you have your shower. And if you want, for particular safety, you can put the handrails. They are an option. I personally wouldn't do it. I like it more open, but yeah, those handrails can be installed in place, if you so feel. Otherwise, it's nice and open and you can jump in the water. There is a ladder integrated and you can come out of the water, and this is your fantastic beach club. So I hope you enjoyed it. I think we close it here. I think it's 2.5 hours of walkthrough video. Again, it's a lot of boats. I try to be as fast as I can on one end. On the other, I don't want to rush. I mean, if you are interested in this product, I think, and you don't have an opportunity to go see one for yourself, probably the video is the best thing to do. And you know, I hope I give you a good insight. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us and contact our dealer network around the world. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. See you next time.